On a blistering afternoon, Officer Thompson, a new and eager police officer, encounters a tense situation involving Mr. Johnson, a respected elderly figure in the community. What starts as a minor accident quickly escalates when Officer Thompson, misjudging the situation, sides with an upset child's parents and humiliates Mr. Johnson publicly. Unbeknownst to him, Mr. Johnson is not only a well-regarded community leader but also a recent investor in the police department's new training facility. As the truth comes to light, Officer Thompson is faced with the weight of his actions and the urgent need for self-reflection. This powerful story unfolds with surprising twists and a crucial lesson about respect, bias, and the chance for redemption. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Officer Thompson, a young and ambitious white police officer, is fresh out of the academy, brimming with enthusiasm and driven by an intense desire to make a lasting and meaningful impact on the police force. His decision to join law enforcement was not made lightly. He sees this role as far more than just a career choice. For Thompson, being a police officer is a profound calling, a sacred duty to serve, protect, and uplift the community he has sworn to safeguard. This deep sense of purpose fuels his every action, pushing him to go above and beyond his duties. Whether it's the routine tasks of patrolling the streets or responding to emergencies, Thompson approaches each day with unwavering dedication. He is determined to prove himself, not just to his superiors and colleagues, but also to the very people he serves. Earning their respect is a mission close to his heart, and he knows that respect must be earned through consistent, honorable actions. In stark contrast to Officer Thompson's youthful zeal, Mr. Johnson is an elderly black man who has lived in the neighborhood for what seems like a lifetime. He is not merely a resident but a revered figure in the community, a man who has weathered the storms of change and challenges over the decades with grace and resilience. Mr. Johnson has become a pillar of stability in an ever-evolving environment, and his presence is a testament to the neighborhood's enduring spirit. Through the years, he has earned the deep respect and admiration of his neighbors, not through force or authority, but through his quiet wisdom, boundless kindness, and unwavering commitment to helping others. His knowledge of the neighborhood is encyclopedic, and his advice, always offered with humility, is sought by young and old alike. There's a certain gravitas in his presence, a quiet strength that commands respect, not out of fear, but out of genuine admiration and love. His gentle demeanor and the way he carries himself with dignity make him a beloved and almost paternal figure to those who have had the privilege of knowing him. One scorching summer afternoon, the sun hangs high in the sky, casting a relentless heat over the neighborhood. The streets, usually bustling with activity, seem subdued under the oppressive weight of the midday sun. Officer Thompson, clad in his uniform, is on foot patrol, his eyes and ears keenly attuned to the subtle rhythms of the area that he is gradually beginning to understand and navigate. The air is thick with the scent of asphalt and distant cooking, and the sound of cicadas hums faintly in the background. As Thompson rounds a familiar corner, his trained eyes catch sight of a small commotion up ahead, breaking the monotony of the day. His heart rate quickens ever so slightly as he approaches the scene with a careful mix of curiosity, caution, and concern. What he sees as he gets closer is a sight that immediately tugs at his heartstrings. There, on the sidewalk, is Mr. Johnson, a man he has come to recognize from his frequent patrols, stooped over, struggling to gather scattered groceries from the hot pavement. Nearby stands a young child, no more than 5 or 6 years old, frozen in place with wide, frightened eyes. The child looks both bewildered and distressed, unsure of what to do next. It doesn't take long for Thompson to piece together what had happened. The child, in a moment of playful exuberance, and perhaps not fully aware of their surroundings, had accidentally collided with Mr. Johnson, causing the groceries to spill from his arms and onto the ground. The scene is one of accidental chaos, but also of vulnerability, a moment where the humanity in both the elderly man and the child is laid bare. Before Officer Thompson can fully assess the unfolding situation, he notices the child's parents arriving at the scene. Their faces are flushed with anger and frustration, and their body language is tense as they approach. Completely unaware of who Mr. Johnson is or the deep respect he commands within the community, they immediately launch into a tirade. Their voices are loud and confrontational, filled with accusations and assumptions as they demand an apology from Mr. Johnson. The elderly man stands quietly, maintaining a calm and composed demeanor despite the rising tension and harshness of the words being hurled at him. Officer Thompson stands back momentarily, observing the scene with a growing sense of unease. He quickly realizes that this isn't just a simple misunderstanding between neighbors, it's a situation fraught with potential consequences. He understands that his response at this moment will not only affect his reputation and career, but could also impact the delicate balance of the community he has sworn to protect and serve. The officer knows that this is a situation requiring more than just a display of authority. It calls for wisdom, patience, and a careful assessment of the underlying dynamics at play. However, driven by a sense of duty and perhaps an overestimation of the need to assert control, Officer Thompson strides toward the gathering. His posture is confident, almost rigid, and his expression is stern, projecting an air of command. He believes this is his moment to demonstrate leadership, to show that he can handle the situation decisively. But in his haste, he overlooks the nuances of the situation, failing to recognize the deeper implications of the parents' anger and Mr. Johnson's calm. Without fully grasping the complexities of what is happening, Officer Thompson instinctively sides with the parents. He sees their anger as justified and their demands as reasonable. With a firm, authoritative tone that leaves little room for argument, he begins to chastise Mr. Johnson. His words are sharp, his demeanor dismissive, as he accuses the elderly man of overreacting to what he perceives as a minor incident. The officer's voice cuts through the warm afternoon air, echoing with an insistence that Mr. Johnson offer an immediate apology to the parents. In his mind, Mr. Johnson's reaction is not only unnecessary, but also a disruption to the peace and harmony of the neighborhood. As Officer Thompson speaks, he fails to notice the subtle shifts in the atmosphere, the way the onlookers react, and the quiet resilience in Mr. Johnson's eyes. What he sees as a simple resolution demanding an apology may be sowing seeds of discord. His words, meant to restore order, might instead be deepening the divide within the community, setting the stage for further conflict. Yet at this moment, the officer is focused only on asserting his authority, unaware of the larger forces at play. If you are still watching this video and find these stories useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. The parents, emboldened by Officer Thompson's authoritative presence, stand resolute, their frustration and anger now seemingly justified and intensified by the officer's intervention. Their voices, once simmering with indignation, now rise with newfound confidence, as if the officer's mere acknowledgement has granted them a sense of validation. On the other side, Mr. Johnson, a man renowned in the community for his unwavering patience, quiet dignity, and long-standing reputation, stands silently amidst the growing tension. His face, though composed, betrays a hint of weariness as he endures the public chastisement with a calm demeanor. Mr. Johnson is acutely aware that this young, overzealous officer, caught up in the heat of the moment, has no idea of the gravity of his actions or the stature of the man he is reprimanding. Yet, despite the sting of this unjust reprimand, Mr. Johnson consciously chooses to maintain his calm, understanding that responding in kind would only escalate the situation further. What Officer Thompson fails to recognize is that Mr. Johnson is not merely an elderly resident he can easily dismiss. Mr. Johnson is a pillar of the community, a successful businessman who has spent decades investing in the neighborhood's development, working tirelessly to uplift the very streets that Officer Thompson now patrols. His contributions have not gone unnoticed. He is widely respected for his philanthropy and commitment to local causes. Moreover, Mr. Johnson holds a significant stake in the local police department's well-being. It was his company that recently made a substantial donation, a contribution that was pivotal in the construction of the department's new state-of-the-art training facility. Ironically, this facility is one that Officer Thompson has eagerly anticipated using, viewing it as a crucial step in advancing his law enforcement career. As Officer Thompson continues to berate Mr. Johnson, oblivious to the profound impact this man has had on both the community and the police force, a few bystanders begin to murmur among themselves. Those who are familiar with Mr. Johnson's true identity and his substantial influence exchange uneasy glances, aware of the potential ramifications of the officer's ignorance. They understand that the situation unfolding before them is far more complex than it appears, and they recognize the precarious position in which Officer Thompson has placed himself. Mr. Johnson, however, remained steadfast, his composure unshaken even as the weight of the officer's words bears down on him. He understands that this moment could have significant consequences, not just for the young officer, but for the entire police department that has unknowingly wronged one of its most important benefactors. Despite the public humiliation and the growing crowd of onlookers, Mr. Johnson refrains from responding with anger or indignation. Instead, he offers Officer Thompson a respectful nod, his dignity unblemished, and proceeds to calmly gather the last of his groceries, placing them meticulously into his shopping cart. The young officer, convinced that he has successfully diffused a potentially volatile situation and restored order, walks away with a sense of accomplishment, entirely unaware of the storm that may soon follow once the truth of Mr. Johnson's identity and contributions comes to light. The repercussions of this encounter, which Officer Thompson naively believes to be resolved, may reverberate through the police department in ways he has yet to imagine. As the atmosphere grows increasingly tense, Mr. Johnson remains the epitome of calm and dignity. Even in the face of what he perceives as unjust treatment, he maintains a composure that speaks volumes. He recognizes that Officer Thompson's behavior stems from a lack of understanding rather than intentional hostility. With a deliberate and measured tone, Mr. Johnson decides it's time to confront the issue head-on. Officer Thompson, Mr. Johnson starts, his voice steady and infused with respect. I think it's important for you to be aware of a few things. My name is Richard Johnson, and I have been a part of this community for a long time. I have a deep commitment to its welfare and progress. My company recently made a substantial contribution to support this very police department. That new training facility you're so enthusiastic about joining? It was made possible largely due to our support and financial backing. As Mr. Johnson's words take hold, Officer Thompson's eyes widen in shock. The realization dawns on him with the force of a heavy blow. He has just publicly humiliated a key benefactor of his department. The young officer's previously unshakable confidence rapidly disintegrates, replaced by an overwhelming sense of regret and shame. What seemed like a display of authority now feels utterly insignificant in light of the gravity of his mistake. At that moment, Officer Thompson is rendered speechless. His mind races, struggling to process the ramifications of his actions, but all he can feel is a profound sense of dread. He now grasps the full impact of his behavior. Not only has he disrespected a distinguished and influential member of the community, but he has also placed his career in jeopardy. The thought of how this blunder could affect his professional future, the very career he is so eager to advance, fills him with anxiety and discomfort. In that fleeting moment, Officer Thompson is abruptly and painfully forced to confront an uncomfortable truth about himself. The realization dawns on him with an intense clarity. His own biases and unwarranted assumptions have driven him to treat Mr. Johnson with an unjust and harsh demeanor. The elderly man's unwavering calm and dignified response in the face of such disrespect only serves to amplify the young officer's sense of guilt and self-reproach. Thompson can now see how his actions, fueled by preconceived notions, were not only misguided but profoundly disrespectful. His hands begin to tremble slightly, and he struggles to steady his voice as he attempts to make amends. "Mr. Johnson, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. I had no idea who you were. Please forgive me." Mr. Johnson, embodying grace and forbearance, offers a serene nod, accepting the apology with a quiet dignity that speaks volumes. He refrains from adding any further reproach or critique, his response devoid of judgment or reprimand. This gentle acceptance only serves to deepen Officer Thompson's regret, making it glaringly apparent that he has much to learn about empathy, respect, and the impact of his actions on others. The incident unfolds as a harsh yet necessary lesson for Officer Thompson. It compels him to embark on a profound period of self-reflection as he grapples with the critical importance of treating every individual with inherent dignity and respect, irrespective of their age, race, or outward appearance. The young officer comes to a sobering realization that his eagerness to assert his authority led him to commit a significant error, one that could have been easily avoided had he approached the situation with a mindset of empathy, understanding, and open-mindedness. The gravity of his mistake becomes increasingly apparent as he understands that his behavior not only disrespected a prominent member of the community, but also jeopardized his standing within the department. The prospect of how this misjudgment might impact his career, the very career he is so determined to build and advance, adds a layer of anxiety and regret to his already burgeoning self-awareness. Officer Thompson's confrontation with his flaws and the resulting lesson in humility underscore the need for continuous personal and professional growth. The incident serves as a poignant reminder that true authority and respect are earned through understanding and treating others with kindness, rather than through the display of unchecked power or preconceived notions. In the days that follow the incident, Officer Thompson embarks on a deliberate and reflective journey to reassess his behavior and attitudes. The encounter with Mr. Johnson has deeply impacted him, prompting him to recognize and confront the subtle biases that had previously influenced his actions. With a newfound awareness, he commits himself to making meaningful changes. The experience serves as a powerful reminder that genuine respect and authority are not derived from the mere exercise of power, but are earned through understanding, fairness, and compassion. If you are still watching this video and find these stories useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. For Mr. Johnson, the incident reinforces the ongoing challenges faced by individuals who are often judged based on superficial characteristics rather than their true character. Despite the discomfort of the situation, he remains hopeful that Officer Thompson and others who may find themselves in similar positions can learn from their mistakes and grow. Mr. Johnson believes in the potential for personal and professional transformation, trusting that such experiences can lead to more compassionate and empathetic interactions within the community. The story's resolution could unfold in several ways, each illustrating the potential consequences of Officer Thompson's actions. In the wake of the confrontation, Officer Thompson, profoundly shaken by the encounter, takes time to reflect on his actions. He comes to understand the depth of his mistake and the impact it has had on Mr. Johnson. With genuine remorse, he approaches Mr. Johnson once more. "Mr. Johnson, I want to extend my sincerest apologies for the way I treated you. I was completely wrong in my approach, and I am deeply sorry. Please allow me to make amends." Mr. Johnson, recognizing the sincerity in the young officer's eyes, responds with a warm and encouraging smile. "Admitting when you've made a mistake is never easy, son. What truly matters now is how you choose to move forward and what you do to ensure that such a mistake is not repeated." Embracing this advice, Officer Thompson dedicates himself to becoming a better officer and a more understanding individual. He actively engages in efforts to bridge gaps within the community he serves. He attends local town hall meetings, participates in community events, and enrolls in courses focused on cultural sensitivity and addressing implicit biases. His commitment to personal growth and professional development gradually earns him the respect of the community he serves. Over time, Officer Thompson's transformation becomes evident. He is no longer seen as a figure of authority who acts out of a sense of superiority, but as an officer who approaches his role with fairness, empathy, and compassion. The experience reshapes him, not only as a professional but also as a person, illustrating the profound impact of humility and respect in every interaction. Through his journey of redemption, Officer Thompson learns that true leadership is defined by the ability to listen, understand, and grow from one's experiences. The story concludes on a hopeful note, showcasing how personal growth and the pursuit of genuine respect can lead to positive change and foster stronger, more empathetic connections within a community. In the aftermath of the incident, Mr. Johnson remains outwardly composed, but the disrespect he experienced leaves a profound and lasting impact. Determined that Officer Thompson's actions should not go unaddressed, Mr. Johnson quietly uses his influence to arrange a private meeting with the police chief. Given Mr. Johnson's significant contributions to the department, the chief is already well acquainted with his stature and the weight of his concerns. During the meeting, Mr. Johnson recounts the entire sequence of events, detailing the officer's conduct and the subsequent public humiliation he endured. He presents a compelling case, emphasizing the need for appropriate action to maintain the integrity of the police force and uphold community trust. The police chief, recognizing the gravity of the situation, assures Mr. Johnson that the matter will be taken seriously and that appropriate measures will be implemented. A few days later, Officer Thompson finds himself summoned to the chief's office. The meeting is stern and somber, with the chief outlining the consequences of Thompson's actions. It is made clear that a formal reprimand will be placed in Thompson's file, and he will face a suspension without pay for several weeks. The chief emphasizes that any future incidents of discrimination or misconduct will lead to termination, underscoring the severity of the department's stance on such issues. The news of Officer Thompson's suspension quickly spreads throughout the department, serving as a stark warning to other officers. The incident becomes a critical juncture in the department's ongoing efforts to combat discrimination and rebuild trust with the community. It serves as a reminder of the importance of maintaining professionalism and respect in all interactions. As Officer Thompson grapples with the consequences of his actions, he is left to reflect on the choices that led him to this point. Whether he uses this experience as a catalyst for personal growth or allows it to further embitter him is a path he must navigate on his own. Despite Officer Thompson's sincere apology, the resolution of the situation involves more than just a verbal acknowledgement of his mistake. Mr. Johnson, though accepting the apology, remains firm in his belief that accountability is essential. He engages in a conversation with the police chief, advocating for consequences that will both address the immediate issue and provide an opportunity for the officer to learn and grow. In response to Mr. Johnson's concerns, the chief decides on a balanced approach. Officer Thompson is suspended for a designated period, but he is also required to participate in a mandatory training program. This program focuses on cultural competence, community engagement, and bias reduction, aimed at addressing the underlying issues that contributed to his behavior. Additionally, the department introduces new policies designed to prevent similar incidents in the future, including regular training sessions and evaluations for all officers. While Officer Thompson's career faces a temporary setback, the experience ultimately serves as a turning point for him. He returns to duty with a heightened awareness of his responsibilities, a deeper understanding of the importance of empathy, and a renewed commitment to serving the community with integrity and respect. The mandatory training and policy changes within the department foster an environment where accountability and continuous improvement are prioritized. For Mr. Johnson, the resolution provides a sense of justice and reassurance that the department is taking meaningful steps toward change. He is hopeful that the incident will lead to lasting improvements and contribute to a more equitable and respectful law enforcement environment. In the end, the incident becomes a crucial lesson for both Officer Thompson and the department as a whole. It underscores the importance of accountability, the potential for personal and institutional growth, and the ongoing struggle for equality and respect within law enforcement. The experience serves as a reminder that true progress is achieved through a commitment to understanding, fairness, and the continuous effort to uphold the principles of justice. As Officer Thompson immerses himself in the intricate demands of his new role, he begins to undergo a profound period of self-reflection. The memory of his earlier encounter with Mr. Johnson, which took place outside the local store, has been persistently occupying his thoughts. In particular, Thompson finds himself dwelling on Mr. Johnson's demeanor during that interaction. Mr. Johnson had exhibited a calm, assertive presence that stood in stark contrast to Thompson's initial hasty judgment. This reflection leads Thompson to a significant realization: his eagerness to establish his authority and prove his capabilities had clouded his judgment, resulting in errors that he now recognizes with a growing sense of humility. He comes to understand that his rush to action had not only been premature but also indicative of a larger gap in his comprehension of the community he is sworn to serve and protect. Motivated by this newfound awareness, Thompson resolves to seek out Mr. Johnson to make amends for the misunderstandings and potential friction he may have caused. He tracks down Mr. Johnson at his modest home, where he finds the older man relaxing on his porch. Mr. Johnson is surrounded by a few neighborhood children who are captivated as he recounts tales from his past. As Thompson approaches, he feels a mixture of nervousness and anticipation. With sincerity, he admits to Mr. Johnson that his initial judgments were flawed and that he had been too quick to form opinions without fully understanding the context. Thompson expresses a heartfelt desire to learn more about the community and to gain a deeper understanding of the people he is committed to protecting. To Thompson's surprise and relief, Mr. Johnson greets his apology not with criticism, but with a warm, welcoming smile. Recognizing the young officer's willingness to acknowledge his mistakes and his openness to growth, Mr. Johnson is moved by Thompson's sincerity. In a gesture of mentorship, Mr. Johnson extends an offer to guide Thompson. He invites the officer to join him in exploring the neighborhood, to walk through its streets, and to meet its residents. Mr. Johnson hopes that by sharing his knowledge and experiences, he can help shape Thompson into the kind of officer who genuinely embodies the qualities of compassion, understanding, and respect that the community needs. As their interactions become more frequent and they spend an increasing amount of time together, an unlikely and profound friendship begins to blossom between the two men. Mr. Johnson, with his extensive experience and deep-rooted connections to the neighborhood, emerges as a pivotal guiding force in Officer Thompson's life. With years of first-hand knowledge and a heart deeply invested in the community's welfare, Mr. Johnson takes it upon himself to impart invaluable lessons to the young officer. He introduces Thompson to the rich tapestry of the neighborhood's history, painting vivid pictures of the struggles its residents have endured and the remarkable resilience that has defined their collective spirit. If you are still watching this video and find these stories useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Through Mr. Johnson's eyes, Thompson begins to gain a new perspective on the neighborhood. What was once seen as a mere area of duty transforms into a vibrant and culturally rich community. Thompson comes to understand and appreciate the intricate web of traditions, values, and mutual support that binds its residents together. The historical and emotional depth of the neighborhood becomes apparent, and he learns to recognize and value the strength and solidarity that characterize the people he once saw as merely his responsibility. Under Mr. Johnson's mentorship, Officer Thompson undergoes a significant transformation. He evolves into a more compassionate, understanding, and effective officer. His role extends beyond the mere enforcement of the law. He becomes known for his sincere care and commitment to the well-being of the community he serves. Emulating Mr. Johnson's example, Thompson actively engages with local leaders, participates in community events, and takes on the role of mentor to at-risk youth. His efforts to connect with and support the residents begin to bear fruit, changing the way they perceive him. The once skeptical residents start to see Thompson in a new light. They begin to respect and appreciate him not just for his position of authority, but for his genuine efforts to immerse himself in their world and support their needs. This shift in perception reflects the positive impact of Thompson's commitment to understanding and contributing to the community. This unexpected development in the story underscores the profound and transformative power of humility, mentorship, and cross-generational friendship. It highlights how these elements can significantly shape the character and effectiveness of those in positions of authority. Officer Thompson's relationship with Mr. Johnson becomes a powerful symbol of hope and unity, illustrating that even in a world often marked by division and misunderstanding, meaningful connections and mutual respect can foster positive change and build bridges between people from different walks of life. Through their bond, Thompson not only finds his place within the community, but also gains a deeper understanding of the true essence of service and leadership. Thank you for watching A Twist of Fate, The Humiliated Officer. We've explored a powerful story about respect, humility, and personal growth. What have you learned from Officer Thompson's journey and Mr. Johnson's response? We'd love to hear from you. Please comment below with one key lesson you've taken away and how you plan to apply it in your own life. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Your support helps us bring more meaningful stories to life.